Hey, what's going on, guys? This is AndrewChicken and welcome back to another video. As you can see by the fire and flames around us, we are on the PTS, and doesn't this look epic? So today, we're going to be checking out Mr. Azaan over here, the newest tank coming to the realm in the next update. Now, this is not available yet. This is on the public test server, so if you're wondering, why is my game not updating? Why don't I have Azaan when he has Azaan? It's because, well, it's not here yet. If you look at your event pass, you'll be able to see exactly how much longer you have until the patch comes out. It should be out in about 23 days from time of recording. Of course, when you see this video, it'll probably be like 22 days or something. But yeah, we got about 3 weeks remaining, give or take a day or two. So, yeah. But we can still test on the PTS here, of course, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing today. So in this video, I'll be going over first his skins, and then I'll take him to the shooting range, and we'll show off each of his abilities and how they work. I'll also be showing off one key loadout card that I think will be really, really powerful, as well as a few Day Zero builds that I have for him, which I wanted to test and play around with. So yeah, I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and get into his skins. So of course, Azaan comes with his default skin, then a recolor which you can buy for 60k gold, and then his gold skin, and one limited skin which comes in the season pass. So this is what he looks like normally. Oh my goodness, he looks beautiful. Look at that suit of armor, the wings behind him. He looks majestic. He looks beautiful. He's a pyre warrior. And yeah, already looking amazing. Then we can go to the skin which you can buy for 60k gold. This is Kingdom's End. This is a purple abyssal variant of the default pyre skin. If you love purple, you must buy this skin. You have to. You have no choice. This is just amazing. Look at it. It is fabulous and phenomenal, and I love it. There's his gold skin, which I'll be grinding for personally, and I cannot wait to grind for it because look at it. Oh, oh, look at it. It's beautiful. The gold is crisp. It's shiny, but not too shiny. It definitely does not have the Shaolin gold skin, just disgusting gold texture that has. No, the gold looks just so beautiful, so crisp. The black is a lovely shade. It's not too dark. It's not too light. The white, oh man, just look at it. It's easily one of the best gold skins in the game. No doubt about it. No competition. It might even be the best gold skin in the frontline class. It is seriously that sick. And then, of course, the skin that I'm sure a lot of people came to see. This one will probably be in the thumbnail too, honestly. Forge Master. He's not wearing a shirt. There you go. Yeah, this is the limited one in the season pass. And it's definitely the type of skin that I think a lot of people will be happy to see when this guy pins them into a wall. Which, by the way, he can pin people into walls, as we'll see in a little bit. So, yeah, looking really sick. Apart from the obvious difference with this skin, it also has a really nice color scheme on like his loincloth, his pants, his boots here, and his wings look amazing. They're kind of burnt. They're just really, really awesome looking. And then, of course, we have his emotes. This is the default emote, which looks pretty nice, but also pretty basic. And then there's Educator. This will come with the season pass, as you can see, because I have it equipped. I have the season pass, and he basically just does a forceful landing and then points at you and chuckles. Nice. And there's also this exclusive MVP pose, which is forceful landing. Looking pretty nice. And the default MVP pose, which is just him standing. So, yeah, pretty bland. So, here is Azaan. He's a guy with a hammer, and his hammer is beautiful. Look at that. Absolutely fantastic. So we're going to be going over his abilities now. And his first ability, of course, is his primary fire. Now, this is basically what would happen if Zin and Grover's weapons had a baby. So he throws his hammer in a attack pattern very similar to Zin. So he does two medium hits, 1, 2, and then a heavy hit. And the heavy hit does increased damage like that. And as you saw on the bottom left, while I was shooting those guys, it increased a meter. Now what that meter is his passive. So as he raises that, he gains more and more passive damage reduction, up to 20% when he's at maximum ire, which is what the meter is called. And once he passes 80%, his weapon shots will do increased damage and they'll also have an AoE explosion. So let's charge it up a little bit. You can charge it up by doing damage from any source. So from any of his abilities, you'll be charging up ire. And here we go, now we're above 80%. We get that glow around us, and now you can see our shots are doing increased damage, and they also explode. We can hit the floor right here, and it'll do damage to both of them. So, pretty neat. You can also charge up his ire by taking damage. So if we were to go over to the Cassies here, you can see that, yeah, we will in fact charge our ire. And when we charge our ire by also shooting, at the same time, it goes up ridiculously fast. However, by using an ability, you will drain your ire, so do keep that in mind. Also above 80%, every single one of his abilities will be augmented in some way, which I'll go over once I cover each of them. One final thing to note about his primary fire is that it actually has infinite range. Boom. So we just hit that guy from all the way over here. This makes Azaan the longest ranged tank in the game. Theoretically, if your aim is perfect, you can hit shots from literally anywhere on the map. Like, look at this. Look at how far away we are right now. No other tank can do that, not even Atlas. Of course, the projectiles do take forever to travel. Like, look at how long it is before the projectile hits them. So, leading projectiles and people very far away is going to be pretty difficult. Anyways, his first ability is called Reckoning. Now this will throw out a 300 damage projectile, which will lift up all enemies for 0.3 seconds. So you can hold right click, see the ability, and see kind of the outline where it will be cast. So it has like a little T shape. And so if we, just get the Victor nice inside of that, throw it, it does 300 damage, and it knocks him up in the air. Now, it basically remains a set distance away from you, so it'll always be that distance away. You can't make it go farther away, so it has a pretty short range, but a pretty sizable AoE. And the nice thing about the lift up on this ability is that it will actually cancel abilities like Rom's Juggernaut. So you can use it kind of like how you use Bounce South with Buck, where you cast it, and then it just stops a movement ability in its tracks. So this is a really helpful ability, kind of like a pseudo cripple, almost. So very, very helpful against champions who have movement abilities, and also the knock-up can sometimes be disorienting. And you can also kind of chain it together with your attack, so you do that, and then throw another one, and I missed because I'm not used to Azaan yet, but yeah, theoretically you can chain it like that, do that sort of combo, which is pretty nice. Now, the way this ability gets augmented is when you're above 80% ire, it'll actually have a shorter cooldown by about 3 seconds. So it has a 10-second cooldown by default, and if we go ahead and charge up our ire, we can see... Oh goodness, this takes forever. We'll see eventually! We use the ability, and 7-second cooldown. So it's a 3-second cooldown reduction if you use it above max ire. And you also saw there for a second that we used the ability, it drained our ire, but then the damage gave us a little bit more ire. So we can demonstrate that again. Hit him, and it gave us a little bit of ire. And obviously we had some ire, it would have taken away ire as well. So it basically pays for itself as long as you hit someone. So that's pretty good. His next ability is Sanctuary. Now this will basically create 5 wall segments in a semicircle pattern, kinda like this. Each of these wall segments has 2500 health, and they are affected by Bulldozer, not Wrecker, so they're just like Inara's walls. And they look fantastic. They also have a very long cooldown of 14 seconds, as you can see. So yeah, gotta be careful when and where you use them. Also, if you kind of like get the little blueprint area there locked in a wall, then it won't summon all the wall segments. Like if we do this, for example, then we only get those 3. So yeah, walls can kind of screw up your placement of your walls, but at the same time, I mean, this slide is already well protected anyway, so does it really matter? It doesn't. But using this ability above 80% ire will simply increase the health that each wall segment has, which is pretty darn helpful, because, to destroy each of the wall segments, it's going to take a while if you don't have Bulldozer. But you can also shoot through the gaps. So like we can do this, and then shoot through, and we can still hit that Victor. So there are gaps in the defense here, but it still will block a lot of damage, especially if you're hugging one of these walls like this. So do keep that in mind. Reinhardt's next ability is... Wait, I meant to say Azaan. Azaan's next ability is Reinhardt's Pin. Sort of. So it's not exactly like how Reinhardt's works. Basically, you dash forward, and if you encounter a wall with an enemy, so basically the first enemy you collide with, you'll carry them with you, and if you encounter a wall, it'll do some damage and stun them. So we can do this again. Pin him against the wall, did about 350 damage, and we saw another proc of 100 for some reason. I don't know, it's kind of weird. And then it also stunned him for a brief amount of time. Now, the way this differs from Reinhardt's charge is obviously it's way shorter, like way shorter. We also can't turn while we're using it, so we can't steer. It doesn't do as much damage as Reinhardt's pin, and also we can fly with it, so we can go up here. Basically, it just goes in the direction of your mouse. So you can actually get some vertical mobility out of Azaan. Like, you know, if you're taking a bunch of fire, you can look directly up, use your pin, and if you're lucky, you'll carry an enemy with you, kind of like this. But yeah, you'll also do a good job dodging stuff, and you can use it to chase enemies who go up onto high grounds, making him pretty good on maps like Serpent Beach compared to someone like Rom. So that's pretty helpful. And when you use this above 80% ire, it will make the ability used faster, which, I mean, I haven't noticed it too much, but we will get max ire anyways just to demonstrate. So here we go, one more shot, and then we use it fast. And yeah, it does go actually substantially faster. It's kind of hard to notice sometimes when you're in the heat of combat, but it does go pretty fast. We can use it again. Yeah, we go zoom. It doesn't increase the distance, it just, you know, makes you travel that distance faster, which might make it a bit easier to grab a target. So yeah, pretty helpful. And it also has a combination with the walls. So if you put up your sanctuary walls and then pin someone into the sanctuary walls, it does 500 damage, and look at how long that stun lasted. The stun lasts way longer. So it's definitely a good idea to combo those two abilities. Basically what you can do is put the walls behind somebody, then pin someone into the walls, and just slap them to death. You know, use this combo, right? And they die. So, pretty darn cool. Thor's last ability is his... I did it again. Azaan's last ability is apparently very similar to Thor's from Smite. He flies up into the sky. You cannot move while you're in the sky, but you have this targeting circle, and then if we target that, we will throw our hammer, and then teleport in a second later and do a tiny bit more damage, and also knock these guys around. So, it's kind of like a weird version of Corvus' ult, and it almost looks exactly the same with the, you know, the Pyre skin for Corvus. So, let's get another ult here, we'll demonstrate that again. Also, I must mention, you get increased damage reduction while in this ultimate. I believe it was 50%, right? It doesn't say it in this description here, but yeah, you get damage reduction. Obviously, you're crowd control immune. And then also, yeah, it lasts for 6 seconds. So after 6 seconds expires, you will just drop to the ground. You'll get 30% refunded. And also, if you press E again, you'll cancel it manually and get 30% refunded. You have to left click or basically use your fire button if you're on controller to, you know, actually activate the ult and go flying. But it has some wicked range. So I'm going to stand all the way over here. And we can literally cast this all the way over there. So throw the hammer, 725 damage, smash in, do a tiny itty bitty bit of extra damage, and knock these guys out even further. So this is a great ultimate for getting onto the objective last second if you're in like overtime or something, or just charging through and breaking through someone's defenses. Because you just fly up into the sky and you can go pretty much anywhere with this. So very helpful ult. And also, like I mentioned earlier, all of your abilities, when they do damage, it'll gain you ire. And the ultimate is no different. So we press E, and we can just... There's 725, there's a little bit more damage, and we got about 40 to 50% of our ire meter filled. So, yeah, again, just diving onto the objective, you need a little bit of ire regenerated quickly. Ultimate's a good tool for that, especially if you hit multiple people, because the more people you hit, the more ire you get. So, yeah, very helpful ultimate, for sure. I mean, it's just a little bit of everything. Survivability, mobility, damage, crowd control, it's got it all. So next, let's talk about talents. Azaan has 3 different talents which augment his gameplay. The one I was using in that demonstration there was the first one, which is Persistence. It gives you 5% damage reduction, just passively, and it also gives you 40% lifesteal on your hits with your primary weapon. So we can grab this here, and we can just kind of demonstrate that with the Cassius over here. So, yeah, we'll just head over, start hitting him, and it'll basically act in the same way as Ash's lifesteal card, but it's on a talent instead, which frees up your loadout points to invest in other things. So, yeah, we get a pretty substantial amount of healing from each of these hits. But of course, Azaan's DPS is a bit on the low side because of his fire rate, so do keep that in mind. But it's still some nice self-sustain, especially if you really don't trust your healer. And you also get the damage reduction on top of that, so yeah. His next talent is Tempering. Now, I was waiting on the patch notes to see like what his cooldowns would be before I made my decision on whether this talent is good or not. And honestly, It's not. So Tempering will augment Reckoning, Sanctuary, and Conviction, but it'll increase their base cooldown by 50%. So it's basically like Atlas's Big Wall talent, where it greatly increases the effect of your abilities, but makes them have such a ridiculously long cooldown that you can almost never use it. Except Tempering doesn't really affect your abilities that much either. Let's just use it, and yeah, it's not very good. So it's supposed to augment all 3 of your abilities, right? Give them a longer cooldown. So we can use this ability. And yeah, no noticeable difference in the distance traveled. You can notice the cooldown increase, though. Let's use this ability. Let's just see. Whoa, 350 damage instead of 300 damage. That's crazy. Oh my gosh. We can pin this Victor into the wall. 350. And the stun was pretty short, too. Obviously, we can put up our walls. Now, this is the one noticeable thing I noticed. They do actually have more health. Like, they look substantially beefier, especially if we were to get maximum ire. So yeah, let's do that real quick. But notice, look at the cooldown. 21-second cooldown on that ability. Like, what the heck? That is not worth it. That tiny bit of extra HP. Not worth it at all. These cooldowns are just too long for this ability to be effective, in my opinion. Because unlike Atlas's Big Wall talent, you know, where Atlas's talent only affects one ability, this affects all 3 of your abilities. So every single ability is going to have a longer cooldown. So here's some more walls. Look at how beefy the health pool is. We can pin this guy into the wall. It still does 500 damage, and it still stuns for about the same amount of time. And yeah, 21-second cooldown on that. That's so not worth it, in my opinion. In my very, very humble opinion. And obviously it doesn't augment the ult, so you're not getting any benefit there. And we can get max ire and just try this here. Throw that down. It does ever so slightly more increased damage, but that's like the only thing. It's not worth it, in my opinion, unless they change it or buff it in some way after this video is released. Not worth it, in my opinion. His last talent is Eternal. Your ire no longer decays due to not taking or dealing damage. So basically, it'll never passively decrease, but you no longer gain the passive damage increase when you're above the ire threshold. So if you're having trouble maintaining your ire, then this talent is for you, because you will never ever run out of ire. The only way to drain your ire with this talent is to use an ability. So you can see, we'll just attack this guy, take my hands off the keyboard, and yeah, it's not going down, it's just staying there. So, yes, it is quite literally Eternal. One of the most apt names for a talent I've seen in ages. Yeah, there we go. So we use an ability. It drains a little bit, but then obviously by using the ability we get more. So we can use the wall and then pin someone into the wall, get our ire back, slap him, and it's like nothing ever happened. We still actually gain the AoE explosion, but yeah, we don't get that increased damage. But obviously every single other ability is still going to be affected. So like this will have a 7-second cooldown, almost permanently, because, you know, you're never going to run out of max ire. We get that permanent 20% damage reduction. Like, you're never going to have to worry about your damage reduction going away. The pin is always going to be pretty fast. You know, the walls are always going to be pretty tanky. Like, we can hit this guy once, pin him, boom, there's 500 damage. Stunned, he's dead. So I can actually see this being a bit of a good talent. Like, you know, I didn't really know what to expect reading this on the patch notes, but I actually think this one's okay, you know? But of course, the thing is, like, you still gain ire pretty fast in normal combat. Because, like, it may seem decently slow if we're only shooting these guys, but keep in mind that I also get ire by them shooting me back. So that's a thing, too. So, is it cool? Is it helpful? Yes, but is it ultimately better than his first talent? I'll let you be the judge. I mean, we've still got a lot of testing to do. This is quite literally a day 0 explanation of his abilities. So we're going to have to still see how people play Azaan, what people learn with Azaan, before we can ultimately make the decision on what his best talent is. But, I mean, off of my preliminary testing, there's definitely a definitive worst talent, and that's Tempering. So, but yeah, those are his talents. Now let's go over the loadouts. Now, loadouts, obviously, we're not going to have perfect loadouts, but there is one card that is just nuts, and that is Grim Deliverance. Heal for 50 for every percentage point of ire consumed by abilities. Keep in mind, every ability uses a pretty healthy percentage of your ire. So, yeah, this turns out to be some very, very, very beefy healing. And I've also stacked this with Overwhelming Presence and Eternal Strife, just to see how far up we can crank the healing. This might not be the most effective build because of Eternal Strife and Overwhelming Presence, because Cauterize is a thing. But as long as you're running Grim Deliverance in your build, you're going to get some nutty self-sustain. So I'm not going to show off Grim Deliverance with this build, I'm going to show it off with the DR build instead. Because I wanted to test his damage reduction capabilities. Ad Eternum seems pretty nice, it gives you damage reduction pretty much while the Sanctuary is active, and it's going to be active, you know, for a decently long time. Grim Deliverance 5 again. We got a small 75 heal for after activating Conviction. That's not going to be noticeable too much. And then a little bit of damage reduction after activating Conviction. I mean, we could swap that card out, but the main thing is here I want to showcase Grim Deliverance. So let's head on over to the Cassies. And I'm also using the Lifesteal card, by the way, or the Lifesteal talent. And let's just let them shoot me, you know? And we'll use our abilities to heal ourselves. We basically get a full pit potion every time you use an ability. So let's let them shoot me a little bit. We are going to use this ability. There's a 750 heal. No big deal. And of course we can use this. There's a 750 heal. And then we can use the wall. There's 1,000 healing, and we're also blocking damage now. And I get that damage reduction too, because she can shoot me again. That one shot didn't do a lot of damage. And yeah, we also got that lifesteal as well. We can pop this for a heal, do that. Pop this for a heal, there's 750 healing. Keep on going with the lifesteal. And yeah, once we get our abilities back, we can just do this again. And the sustain on this tank is just among the best sustain I've ever seen in the frontline class. Easily rivals Rum, easily rivals Ash. It is just good. And this is one card, by the way, doing all this. Normally to have, you know, a 750 heal on each of your abilities, you'd have to run like 3 different healing cards, if the champion even had that many healing cards. But for Azaan, nope, he can just, you know, do this. One card, and every ability heals him for, at a minimum, 750 before Cauterize. And then you can combine it with the Lifesteal talent, too. So, Azaan is his own healer. He doesn't even need Furia. That's how cool he is. So, yeah, not too much day 0 advice on the loadouts, except for this. Use this card. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they nerf it. Like, totally honest, it probably should be nerfed. But if they don't nerf it, then this is quite literally mandatory. It is that good. It's so, so good. So, yeah, excellent card. Run it. Do it. But yeah, that is just about going to wrap up this showcase of Azaan. So that is all of his abilities and how they work, how they synergize with each other. And yeah, that's also, you know, his one really, really stupidly powerful loadout card. So yeah, make sure to subscribe to me here on YouTube, obviously, because I'm going to be coming out with a bunch of PTS content in the future here. We're going to be also doing some Azaan gameplay as well, getting gameplay of the new skins, stuff like that. And also check out the Twitch channel, where we're going to be doing most of that live. I'll be streaming, I guess technically today is when you're going to be seeing this video coming out. I'll be streaming a lot, so you don't want to miss any of that. Make sure to follow me on Twitch. And also check out the Discord server, where you can find a whole bunch of people to play with, and also just talk about the PTS, talk about Paladins, talk about other games too. We have a great community of people on Discord, so go check that out. But yeah, anyways, that's going to do it for this video, so I will see you all next time. Peace out.